It's been a minute since we've checked in with Canada, and what are they doing? Well, adopting some of the biggest failing policies that you have seen abroad and thinking, we could really use them up here. We'll do it right this time. When is the last time Canada has taken in anything and done it better? Normally, we're known for exporting any of the talent and then just leaving some of the most vanilla people around, okay? No. BC decided to look south, well, Vancouver specifically, because I don't know how anybody in northern Alberta is gonna find any sort of solace in this policy because, well, people that actually work live in the north of BC, and the drug addicts who are now being incentivized to continue their sedation, well, they're just gonna get subsidized by those people in the north, and then from their neighbors to the east, because Alberta funds Canada. Let's keep it a buck. Anyways, BC will decriminalize up to 2.5 grams of hard drugs. Which ones are those? Heroin, crack, meth, all of the fun ones, because, oh no, don't be bringing up the slippery slope argument when it comes to decriminalizing pot, man. Oh, you're just being an alarmist. Here we are. First place that it happens, BC. Next, it'll be Ontario. Then it'll be Quebec, then it'll be the Maritimes, and then eventually it'll just be an entirely sedated country. And guess what sedated countries are? Easily controllable countries. Think a couple of steps ahead for once. Bulk buying, spreading of fentanyl means many entrenched drug users carry more than 2.5 grams. Oh, right, I didn't read the rest of the headline. Drug users say, because we need to listen to drug addicts. This is CBC. Oh, right, yeah, no, we're using a CBC article because this is the government pushing out this propaganda, so might as well go to the government's official mouthpiece. Drug users say that the threshold won't decriminalize them. 2.5 grams of hard drugs. Holy. Like, again, I've never done a hard drug in my life. I've never done a drug in my life. I've never drank of my own volition in my life. I think I've heard stories from when I was teething, and if you're a kid of a certain age, you'll also hear these same stories. Growing up, when you're teething at a very young age, okay, your parents will rub bourbon or brandy on your gums to ease the pain or inflammation, okay, that, and, at one of my friend's house, I think I've told the story before, but if not, he thought that he was being real slick about concocting a new drink, was handing them out to everybody, and it's like, what is this? Oh, it's just juice. And it's like, okay, that's weird looking juice. Ugh, it tastes terrible. Oh, it's my concoction of cooking wine and a whole bunch of other stuff that his mom had at home. It was like, this is gross. What are you doing? Put sugar in wine? What are you for? Anyways, long story short, I don't talk to them anymore. Anyways, British Columbia is set to become the first province to decriminalize possession of small amounts of illicit drugs. Why? But drug users, advocates, and the province's chief coroner, oh great, well that guy has a specific incentive to make sure that, oh no, they should have more drugs out there on the street because, hey man, when there's dead people out there, business is booming. But warn the threshold of 2.5 grams set by the federal government ignores the hard realities of how people buy and use drugs in the province. So instead of getting those and de-incentivizing hard drug use, you just think you should just kick the doors open. Oh, okay. Canadians 18 age or older. Oh, okay, cool. Will be able to possess up to 2.5 grams of opioids, cocaine, methamphetamine, and MDMA within BC as of January 31st, 2023. Oh, yay, so it's already in effect. How adorable. The province applied for an exemption under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act in November of 2021 with a threshold of 4.5 grams. The federal government lowered the threshold to 2.5 grams, citing feedback from law enforcement officials across BC. Oh, yeah, so the people that are theoretically supposed to be imposing these laws, hey, what do you guys think about this stuff? This is absolutely ridiculous. So 2.5 grams, you want to go with that? Okay, wonderful, fantastic. Kevin Yake, Vice President of Vancouver Area Network of Drug Users, because this is all that this is in benefit of. Vancouver, for those of you who are not in the know, who just think that, oh wow, that's just like the Hollywood of the North. No, it's kind of like Skid Row of the North. It's if you take Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco and Los Angeles and just roll it up into one pissy, stinky, rainy, disgusting little mess and throw it right on the coast of BC. I wish you would have just overshot that, but oh well. Boy can dream. At 4.5 grams, I thought that was low. 2.5 grams, I think that's ridiculous. Do you think there's going to be cops wandering around, stepping over passed out, maybe even dead bodies with a little drug scale? Yeah, I don't think so. I just don't know I don't know how the government thinks that this is a good idea at all. Normally, they're always trying to push, safety. Remember how Canada was basically locked down for 3 years because we care about your safety. But hey, if you just want to go ahead and you want to take up a good coke habit, only 2.5 grams at a time. But is that okay? Because it's supposed to be 2.5 grams on your body. Does that also include anything that's inside your body? Anything that you're in the process of snorting or smoking or injecting? What are we talking about here? So, according to Ryan McNeil, director of harm reduction research at the Yale program in addiction medicine, and as an affiliated scientist, good, we got the credentials out on this one, so that means we'll get the definitive stance at BC Center on Substance Use, said that the threshold fails to account for many of the dynamics of drug use specific in Vancouver's downtown east side. This is one of those things. Why are you catering to drug addicts when instead, trying to make them productive members of society? Because you're also saying, there's an opioid crisis, there's a homelessness crisis, there's an overdose problem, and we'll get to that. You might even see it over on the side, the fact that even CBC, while reporting on this, is also bringing to light the grisly realities of all of the deaths that are already on the books and likely to continue to happen now that you have soft incentivized this behavior. Because, instead of catering to the productive members of society, the people that are in the natural resource industry, people most specifically in northern BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, the people that are drilling for the natural resources, creating all of the wealth for the country, because that's not even being hyperbolic, that's just the facts. Instead of catering to them, what do you guys need? What would make you more productive? Hey, just get out of the way a little bit of the government. They're like, we'll decriminalize hard drugs. Oh, great. So all of those people who have an 8th degree education, all of the people that you give 6-digit jobs, and you're going to tell them now, even if they're working in northern Alberta, can go ahead and hop the border, go over to Fort St. John and party like it's 1999. I hate this country. There's no two ways about it. There's no other way to sugarcoat this, because this is just terrible, absolutely terrible policy that benefits nobody. You can try to cover it up any way you want, but people are dying in BC. And given the fact that they were talking to healthcare professionals, modern day Canadian health officials just look at that and it's like, a bunch of people are dying. Well, I guess that we don't have to offer them MAID anymore, I guess. BC's toxic drug deaths in 2022 were almost as high as the record set a year earlier. Don't let that fool you, It's legitimately just a hair underneath. In preliminary data from BC Coroner Services, 2,272 people died last year, just 34 fewer than the province's worst death toll in 2021. It is consistently on the rise. It might have plateaued for 1 year, but you just drop to this brand new rule that gives carte blanche to offenders. Because, if they were already drug addicts and you're advocating on their behalf, they were already theoretically breaking the laws that were on the books. So you just tell them, hey man, that's fine. And you expect cops to be able to weigh 2.5 grams of heroin as opposed to 2.5 grams of coke, which is different than 2.5 grams of meth. Nobody's going to care. I'd weep, but I don't affiliate with drug addicts. Deaths from toxic drugs were down, but barely from last year. I don't care what that is. It's just more propaganda. Last year, after it recorded 2,306 lives were lost in 2021. This is just in BC, by the way. And Canada, in totality, 42 million people live here. That's not an insignificant amount of deaths, even though I don't think many people of substance were ultimately lost, but that's fine. The number of deaths dipped just 34 to at least 2,272 people. I wonder how many missing people that are actually dead and maybe in the sound. Maybe those numbers are a little bit closer. Who knows? In 2022, as BC continues to experience tremendous harm and loss as a result of the province's toxic illicit drug supply. So you know what we do on that one? Hey, guess what? We don't have a problem now because those drugs aren't illicit. Jesus. According to Chief Coroner Lisa Laponte, Our province continues to lose an average of 6 lives every day. It's basically Vancouver, Victoria, and a couple of the outlying suburbs. That's about it. And many more people experience serious health consequences as a result of this unpredictable, unregulated drug supply. Death due to drug toxicity remains a leading cause of unnatural death in British Columbia. Well, don't worry, man. Hopefully you got a bigger book to tally up 2023. So yeah, we can continue to lament this terrible policy, but let's see. Hey, maybe they figured this out by passing this new law. Maybe we've seen, hey, maybe there's another success story where they could just go ahead and look to the policy changes and see if it ended up doing anything good. Because I seem to remember back in 2020, there was a referendum on the ballot in Oregon, okay? Oregon's law decriminalizing small amounts of heroin and other street drugs officially goes into effect, weirdly enough, on the same day just a couple of years ago. January 31st is when everything took effect. So February 1st, 2021, the first full day where you could just go party in the streets. How did that end up affecting Oregon? Okay, that's where Portland's at. Overdose deaths rose 33.6% in Oregon last year. Oh, great. The increase was the 5th largest in the United States in 2021. Round of applause. Great stuff right there. Vancouver adopting failed policies, but don't worry, they'll do it better. And you know why I take this personally? Not like I would ever do any of these drugs, because of universal health care throughout all of Canada. So that tax burden is ultimately going to fall on my shoulders as well. So I get to pay for a bunch of junkie recoveries. Great. Fantastic. Deaths from drug overdoses in Oregon rose 33.6% to 1,069 in 2021, according to preliminary data. Fifth largest jumps in death in the nation after Alaska, Kansas, South Dakota, and Vermont. Oregon is much smaller, like outside of Portland. Basically, nobody lives there. A beautiful state, wonderful state, fantastic state, one of the best states that's out there. But Portland's the big population center. And I would wonder what the percentage is there. Vancouver's, I think, probably a larger city. And then you have the capital, Victoria, just across to Vancouver Island. It's weird. The province's capital is on Vancouver Island. It's called Victoria. Shit's wild. But BC is stupid anyways. Oregon's numbers are rising because of an influx of fentanyl. Oh, okay. It's always that dastardly fentanyl. So instead of trying to combat that, instead of making sure that, I don't know, maybe streets are clean, maybe people get off needle drugs. Now, you know what you do? Just turn a blind eye and then just go, oh no, damn it, fentanyl. You turn a blind eye to this stuff, it continues to find a way and work its way into other drugs. And now what? You're just going to decriminalize death? That should be the next step. That'll really mess up the Chi-Coms. Ugh, these stupid people. You know how you avoid any of this stuff? Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. They just want you sedated just so they can control you. That's what this is. I have no other interpretation of that. So, with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.